Why are so many influencers high-key racist?
I'm not really sure if this is the right thing to do right now or the wrong thing to do right now, but I am so sorry to everyone in the Black community.
Obviously by now you guys have seen the tweets that are circulating around. They unfortunately are not fake. Those are real tweets, like real things that I said.
So there had been some tweets of mine that I learned about yesterday back 10 to 12 years ago that had resurfaced, and
You were right in the last video. These titles deserve the word high-key, not low-key. Every year, at least one influencer is exposed for what can only be described as the audacious white person activity of having posted slurs on the internet. And like clockwork, so many of these influencers will post the exact same apology. The influencer will remain completely silent for 3 to 4 business days. I can only assume they're frantically calling their business managers, lawyers, and PR people. Then, for this inevitable apology that they clearly begrudgingly make, they'll have a curated scene set, but set to look natural and as if everything was filmed in the moment.
Hi. This is gonna be like a different kind of video than what you're used to. I'm like not in the studio right now. I'm at my house.
Where they're almost always sitting on the floor as if giving off Trisha Paytas kitchen floor video vibes is somehow going to help in the process of people forgetting about their racism. Because let's be real, these influencers don't want true forgiveness. Most of these influencers just want everything to go back to exactly as it was so that they can continue to live their luxurious lifestyle all off of your engagement. Their apology videos will always include self-victimization statements like, "I didn't know any better because of the environment I was surrounded by."
My household was literally just Fox News all the time.
at how normal it was for me to speak that way on Twitter, and to, I don't know, for my friends and I to address each other that way, or for me to sing along in rap songs.
They'll also, most of the time, read from a very rehearsed script or utilize very rehearsed words, all of a sudden conjuring up key anti-racism words that they've never used before, or just saying on a continual loop, "I take accountability. I acknowledge my actions and take accountability."
Hey guys, I have had a lot to say about accountability lately and how important it is, and
Do we know what accountability means? Because I think influencers are just throwing it at the wall of whatever controversy they've entered into and hoping something sticks. It's like they think the word accountability is just some magic spell word, somehow casting a spell on our minds that makes us completely forget about their racist actions. And for some people, it really does work. Then they end the video by saying that they're taking some time to grow, only to come back a week later to post a shopping haul or a get ready with me. I mean, there's something kind of scary about this specific sort of white influencer. The type of influencer who has so clearly rarely struggled a day in their life, where you can so clearly tell that the hardest thing they've ever had to go through is the day that they had to apologize for the racist that they posted online. That and the day that their parents got divorced.
Y'all gotta understand, these white kids are scary because a lot of them grew up in the backseat on the way to school listening to Fox News in the car. A lot of them grew up calling their mom a bitch and a hoe.
I'm not trying to say that these influencers have never suffered or have never gone through any struggle. Of course, no one ever knows what someone has gone through or what they're currently going through. Don't get it twisted. But the question must be asked, why are there so many uninspiring, basic, privileged white people who go on to become uninspiring, basic, rich and privileged, mainly lifestyle influencers? And why is it these same types of influencers who always end up being high-key racist? To understand this, let's cover some of the most infamous influencers in recent history who've been exposed for their racism. Alix Earle. Alix Earle, the reason for my outfit today, not that I had to try too hard to give the basic white girl effect, I know, but I'm trying to keep the bit going here, okay? Alix Earle became a mega famous influencer on TikTok while attending the University of Miami.
Back to reality, went home, studied for my final. I think I did well then. This was my last test of college. Then we got ready to take grad pics again. We were strutting through campus looking like this, so awkward.
So Alex, this started catching on when you were a junior in college. How did you balance being a student and being an entrepreneur and creator?
It was tough, but honestly, so rewarding.
Alix's most popular and ongoing series is her Get Ready With Me videos,
Get ready with me for the Dolphins game. All my friends and I are doing a big tailgate at the stadium today.
where she would show her audience how she typically would get ready for, well, yet another incredibly wild college party. And then she'd also film the aftermath.
Wait, this is so bad. That's so bad. No, that's actually really bad. Wait, Alex, this is so bad.
Looks like somebody had a good night last night. There is a trail of Wawa leading all the way up to my bed.
Let's save the discussion of the normalization on the overconsumption of alcohol and its dangerous aftermath.
A lot of people are like calling me a drug addict and an alcoholic. I'm sorry that I'm a fun time. Like, what do you want from me? Like, I don't know what to say. Like,
For another day, as that's a little bit off topic. But one thing that is important to note is that Alix comes from an extremely privileged background. Alix's dad owns his own company called Earle, an asphalt and construction company, and Alix attended a $16,000 a year private school growing up. And because of her well-off background, Alix was afforded many luxuries that most of us have never been able to experience, like luxurious family vacations. Alix even talking about how her dad chartered a private yacht with the whole family for a vacation on New Year's. Then, once Alix became a famous influencer, it's like she swapped one form of privilege for another, or just built on top of her previously existing privilege, the privilege of being a famous influencer. As Alix's platform became more and more famous, she received numerous sponsorship and collaboration opportunities from high-profile brands, like with the company Bloom, a green powder supplement drink.
Everybody does before and after videos with the Bloom stuff about like their bloating, so I want to like just try and see.
And the Forever 21 Juicy tracksuit revival.
Let's pick an outfit for class at UMiami. I like to be comfy for class. That's like my number one thing. If you know me, you know I love my Juicy sets. Forever 21 and Juicy Couture just did a collab.
Alix was even invited to an all-expense paid-for trip to Dubai by the cosmetics company Tarte that received a ton of backlash for the amount of expenses poured into this influencer brand trip.
On today's episode of Influencers in the Wild. That's cute.
Of course, this is the normal evolution of a lifestyle influencer, but I wanted to talk about it before diving into Alix Earle's racism because, first off, I just don't think Alix has the most inspiring story. And I'm sure that Alix did put in work to get where she is today, at least relatively so, but she was already afforded the keys to the Golden Gate. All the obstacles laid out in most people's paths, mainly financially, obstacles that are even worse for people of color due to systemic racism, Alix could skip right over those obstacles simply due to the sheer amount of privilege afforded to her right from birth. This wouldn't necessarily be a huge problem. It would, but I wouldn't be talking about it in a video today if it wasn't for the clear ignorance that Alix has had over her own privilege, which all became clear when her past racial comments were brought to light.
If you haven't heard, really popular creator on here, Alix Earle, got caught talking about this, that on Ask FM back in the day.
Earlier this summer, it came out that Alix Earle had used racist slurs on the question and answer site Ask FM back in 2014. These screenshots were first posted onto the Alix Earle Snark subreddit back in 2023. I swear, Reddit has better detectives than the FBI. After gaining a ton of wealth and privilege and status from her followers, a good amount of which are people of color, another good amount of which are young and impressionable girls, you would think that Alix Earle would have the wherewithal to immediately come out and apologize in a heartfelt way. But initially, all Alix did was post a polished statement on her Instagram story. That'll do it, right? That's good enough. A couple of weeks ago, screenshots surfaced from my old Ask FM account showing me using a slur in the summer of 2014. I am taking accountability and want to make clear that I was 13 years old and did not understand the deeply offensive meaning behind that word.
What were you doing at 13 talking about this, that on the internet? Like, why were you even comfortable saying that?
That is no excuse for using that word in any context or any age. That is absolutely not the way I speak or what I stand for. I am deeply sorry that my words have hurt many and have led people to believe that I have any prejudice in my heart. I promise you that could not be further from the truth. It seems like a big reason for this Instagram story being posted was due to the podcast Do We Know Them, hosted by Jessie Smiles and Lily Marston, which has a subreddit in which the screenshots were also shared.
So basically, there is a Do We Know Them podcast forum that has no affiliation with the podcast or the podcast creators.
The wild thing is, the hosts of the podcast Do We Know Them were allegedly contacted by Alix Earle's legal team due to the fact that screenshots of Alix's racist past were posted on their podcast subreddit. And the people in the email claimed that one of the things that they had a copyright or trademark to was Alix Earle's racist posts that were posted on their subreddit.
On the recent Do We Know Them podcast, they talk about an email they received from Alix Earle's team.
Speaking of weird ass people who have a lot of money and just try to make things go away, Alix Earle had her lawyers email us. Alix Earle apparently has her fair share of a racist past with using the N-word a lot on her Ask FM. And so people posted screenshots of that in our subreddit. And her lawyer said that they have a trademark to that, which is like, you trademarked her racist Ask FM thing?
So shortly after the Do We Know Them podcast spoke on this situation, people started talking about how weird and bizarre it would be if that was in fact true, that Alix Earle trademarked her racist past posts.
Instead of taking any accountability, it looks like Alix Earle instead is looking to trademark her racist past in order to silence other creators.
And seemingly, that's the straw that broke the camel's back. That's what finally prompted Alix Earle to come out with this Instagram story statement. And in her Instagram story, Alix Earle responded to the claims that she trademarked her past posts, saying that it was absolutely ridiculous and untrue. So if that's the case, why did this podcast receive email communication from someone claiming to represent you in any capacity? The hosts of Do We Know Them shared a joint statement with Variety about the email they received from someone claiming to represent Alix Earle. While we cannot speak to the legitimacy or existence of any trademarks or copyright, we can confirm that we received an email from an entity identifying itself as Web Sheriff. This entity claimed to act as the rights agent for Alix Earle. The thing is, surprise, surprise, posting an Instagram story didn't poof make her racist past completely disappear from the online ethosphere. There were more and more videos circulating about Alix's past racism, so she decided finally to sit down and make an apology video.
I know a lot of you guys are probably saying Alix is only making this video right now because other videos are calling her out, saying that she hasn't come on here and talked to you guys about this situation, and that's true.
This apology video featured Alix in wet hair, kind of a just got out of the shower look. If you look at all of Alix's content, normally when she films videos, first off, she rarely starts out a video with wet hair. Even when she's doing a hair tutorial, her hair is already dry.
Here's my hack to get my hair to go from this to this.
Even the semi-natural lighting of the video, which gives off this very raw, real, in the moment, so if you look, you can kind of see the ring light that's actually set up, is pretty rare for Alix as well. So why wouldn't Alix just film a video the way that she normally films them? Why would Alix film in an environment and with herself looking so different from her normal videos? In my opinion, Alix did this very deliberately because it was intended for this apology to come across very authentic, to not sound fake or rehearsed. And subconsciously, if Alix had a ring light set up, her makeup done, her hair done, a fashionable put together outfit, something about that to the viewer's unconscious eye would feel very curated and would detract from that idea that everything was authentically filmed in the moment. Which, just think about that. An influencer spending so much time crafting an apology so that it comes across authentic. The oxymoron in that. I think that was the first time I've ever used oxymoron in a sentence. The thing is, modern day influencers are learning from their predecessors and all the terrible apologies that have come before them.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry.
I'm truly sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
And I am so sorry.
They know exactly how an authentic apology should look and what an audience responds well to and doesn't respond well to. For example, something that people were happy about in Alix's apology video was the fact that she wasn't crying in the video.
It's been a really, really hard morning.
But if you think about it, that's really such a low bar in terms of standards for apology videos. Oh, when you were apologizing to an entire community about how your actions harmed them, you didn't break down into tears. Good job, you did it! Gold star. And it's fairly easy to know that breaking down into tears in an apology video is a bad thing to do because of all the poorly received apology videos where an influencer just completely breaks down into tears.
Yeah. You're the most important person in my life.
Hardest things I've ever done. I'm so sorry. You
Now, of course, I think it's important for me to state the obvious that this is not my apology to forgive. I do think there were probably honest parts of the apology within the apology video.
I am so sorry to everyone in the Black community and the Black community in my audience that I let down. Just want to say, and I just want to put this out here for you guys, that that's not who I am as a person. That's not the way I speak. It's not what I stand for. That's not the way my friends speak. Like, I don't think that's cool. I don't want any young girls watching this and thinking that because I haven't said anything, I think it's okay or that it's cool or whatever. It doesn't matter the context. It doesn't matter the age. Like, it was wrong.
I don't want to be too cynical. Overall, I do hope as a society that not only are there people who are able to move past and forgive people's indiscretions, which cases like Alix Earle have definitely proved, but I also hope that there are people who are genuinely willing to do the work and wanting to grow, trying to grow as much as possible, even when, emphasis on even when, no one is looking.
I hope in the future that I can show that that's not who I am as a person, and I know I've carried myself terribly in this situation, and I'm just trying to have some honesty out there because I feel like that's what's really been lacking in all of this.
That's what Alix stated, right? All of these future promises that she's going to grow so much. So after this video, what happened? What changed exactly? Nothing. Alix is still posting her usual vlogs, hanging out with all of her white friends, posting videos of herself traveling and going to parties and concerts. I mean, really, what did we expect? For Alix Earle to become the next Anne McCarty Braden? I mean, actually, maybe. That would have been kind of cool. The question becomes, how easily should an influencer be forgiven? Is all it takes really just a 2-minute dressed down apology video posted to TikTok? Is the bar really that low? I know that performative activism can be annoying and it is an issue, but is it really better for Alix Earle to be completely silent on everything? Is a 2-minute TikTok video and someone taking a week off really all it takes for them to prove that they're no longer racist or changed from the person they were in their past? Because, I mean, really, imagine if everyone in life was held to that same standard, even for things more mundane than posting slurs online. Imagine if you majorly fucked up at work, did something that caused the place you work at to lose massive amounts of money. But instead of the standard being that they fire you, you just send a mass email to everyone in the company containing a video apology right after you just got out of the shower, of course, sitting on your floor in loungewear saying, "Hey, so I'm really taking some accountability right now. I realized what I did was wrong, and I'm taking the time to grow and reflect on myself. So I'll be taking the next week off to reflect and really do that growth." You take that week off and then come back the next week and act like nothing ever happened. Is that an appropriate response? Is that normal? So why is it normal here? And there's another kind of lifestyle-ishy influencer whose racist past was uncovered this summer. A situation you might already know about if you watched my video on Tana Mojo. And that's the influencer Brooke Schofield. Brooke Schofield is a co-host on the Cancelled podcast. At this point, I was going to talk about, in a brief blurb, some of the things that Brooke Schofield is best known for. I could not find anything other than the ongoing series that Brooke made against her ex Clinton Kane that was like 19 or 20 parts and accrued millions of views per part.
So honestly, you guys, do him a service. He needs money for therapy.
It was mainly about all the really weird and bizarre ways that Clinton Kane would lie during their relationship.
No, I'm sorry. Can Clinton Kane be so for real? I'm only on part like 6.
I'm so sick right now, so if my voice is a little off, that's why, but we're powering through. To be fair to Brooke, her childhood was definitely much different than Alix Earle's. She didn't grow up in as privileged of an environment.
Yeah, I moved in with my grandparents when I was 9. I think my mom went to jail. Or so, like, it was something along the lines where it was like I was going to stay with them for like a week or so, and then I just never got picked up.
Brooke has also often spoken on the Cancelled podcast about her mental health, receiving a diagnosis, and starting medication.
A lot of times, I feel like a lot of people with BPD, you don't really like notice it or as much until you're in a relationship. I feel like it's way, way, way more amplified in a relationship.
Yes, very much so.
I feel like I'm just really like, I mean, obviously it was like so hyper emotional. Like I'm like, I get so happy, so sad, but like,
yeah.
I also have a theory on why so many people are often attracted to these sorts of lifestyle influencers, whether it's Alix Earle, Brooke Schofield, or Tana Mojo. I think people aren't exactly interested in looking at and watching the good things that these influencers do, but rather the bad things that they just can't look away from. Our voyeuristic minds are fascinated with people who make bad decisions. Who wants to watch someone always choosing the right thing, being absolutely perfect and moral in every way? What fun is that? I mean, this has been true all the way back to early 2000s Jersey Shore reality show days. Bad decisions have always been entertaining.
You want a funnel beer?
10:30. You were just sick a second ago.
Do you want to do anything fun?
But I think for many people, an influencer like this feels more grounded in reality. Like a book character who will make a ton of wrong decisions, has their own deep flaws that you can relate to in some ways, but in the end, they find their way through it all and have a character growth where they end up much better than the person that they started as. The problem? People are not characters written on a page. When someone makes bad decisions over and over and over again, that doesn't speak to just a flawed character that we can hold on to and hope for an eventual growth and change. Sometimes what you see is what you get. It's just that simple. Sometimes an onion isn't some mystical thing with hidden layers. It's just a root vegetable that makes you cry.
Ogres are like onions.
They stink?
Yes. No. Layers. Onions have layers.
And this summer, Brooke was exposed for posting racist tweets in the past, basically leading up to the time that she decided to become an influencer.
As you all know, Brooke Schofield's past tweets have resurfaced on the internet, and people are not happy. What do you call a Mexican baptism? Bean dip? Her using the F word. I sure wish I didn't have to dress like a DYKE. This one's giving a little fat phobia. Okay, I'm seeing the pattern here. You guys are getting mad about the words, the derogatory words that she's using. But it wasn't until I saw this next tweet. Guarantee if Zimmerman shot a white guy, this wouldn't even be a story. Newsflash, this wasn't a crime of racism, it was self-defense. This one's gonna be hard. This one right here is a subject that should not even be spoken of unless it's for the right side.
While there's a lot of issues with Brooke's past tweets, a huge issue is the fact that she made them up until when she was in college. And while the excuse for these influencers is often that they made racist posts when they were young and didn't know any better, if you're in college, in an environment where you're surrounded by a ton of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, with different perspectives and cultural views, and you still make racist posts online, you still hold racist ideologies, that's a problem with you, not your environment. Brooke comes out in a sort of TikTok apology video to address this, of course, after her past racist tweets went viral and people began spreading them more and more online.
Obviously, by now you guys have seen the tweets that are circulating around. They unfortunately are not fake. Those are real tweets, like real things that I said. First of all, I want to acknowledge that I feel the same way about them that you do. I think they're so disturbing, they're wrong, they're horrible, and they're disgusting.
In this video, Brooke does the classic deflecting move and said that she made racist posts, things that she posted from her brain to her thumbs and hitting the publish button or post button because of her environment and the other people and their thoughts that she grew up surrounded by.
I try not to be so emotional because I don't want it to seem like it's like a sympathy thing at all. I also don't want to blame anybody else at all, and so I'm trying like to be really careful about that. I just want to explain like and give some context into like my mindset at the time. And my grandma has dementia, so it was really just like me and my grandpa, and he is a very, very right-wing conservative man, okay? It was like my household was literally just Fox News all the time, Rush Limbaugh, like if you guys know who that is, like playing literally all day long through the house, and that was just like the only thing ever that I had been exposed to.
Something I think is kind of interesting when Brooke made this TikTok video is that she claimed that she held racist ideology because her grandfather was very conservative. He was the type of conservative who would watch Rush Limbaugh all day. Brooke didn't say that her grandfather is racist and that's why she grew up with racist ideology. Instead, she justified her racist beliefs because her grandfather was conservative, therefore she became a racist. That's interesting. I've never quite seen people explain away their environment to that extent, because if you think about it, lots of people have had conservative grandparents or parents and didn't grow up to be racist. It's not a justifiable explanation for racism. On top of that, a lot of people whose parents or grandparents had extreme beliefs formed their own opinion from a very young age with their own moral compass guiding them in their own direction without the input of their parents or grandparents. Brooke also admits that she didn't change her racist beliefs until after college.
Truthfully, it took me a really long time. Like, I know some of the tweets I was like 18 and people are like, yeah, like she was old enough to know better. And like, honest to God, you guys, it wasn't until like even after college that I really started to like shift my way of thinking.
You know, after college, around the time she probably decided she wanted her career path to be becoming an influencer, moved to LA and realized that holding racist beliefs would probably be a bad look for her brand and image. So once all the news of Brooke's past racism resurfaced, Brooke decided to take some time off to reflect and grow away from the canceled podcast and her life online as an influencer.
I'm hoping Brooke is taking the time right now to reflect and grow and learn in a lot of the ways that I did.
How long was this time that Brooke spent learning, growing, and working on herself? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. The reason being, in my opinion, is that this controversy came out right in the middle of the canceled podcast tour. The hosts had already sold tickets to the tour, booked venues, had tour dates that they needed to uphold. So 2 weeks later, they released a podcast together, practically laughing about the entire thing.
Hello and welcome back to the Canceled Podcast.
Yeah, squash the rumors. I am not yet kicked off the canceled podcast.
When has Tana Mojo ever said anything and made it abundantly clear and it didn't get misconstrued and people completely understood her point and yada yada?
Like I fear I make some bad points sometimes too.
Hey.
Where was the sense of gravity surrounding this issue 2 weeks ago? Have we seen any sense of this purported growth and learning that Brooke was allegedly doing? It seems in general, the hosts of the canceled podcast have tried their best to just go back to normal, to pretend like nothing ever happened, going on tour and promoting it to their audience, traveling, doing their podcasts, and living the average influencer lifestyle. So again, what is the standard for forgiveness here? Is all it takes to be forgiven by your audience a TikTok or two and a week or two off? Then it's boom, back to normal, with absolutely nothing to show that you've actually reflected and grown. Can you not, at the very least, speak on the anti-racism that you're allegedly doing all this work to learn? I do truly, deeply hope that Brooke has changed and that in the future we could see some anti-racist content from the hosts of the canceled podcast because of their influence and the fact that they're probably going to keep doing what they're doing regardless. I can't help but think about the amount of people it could impact if they would just sprinkle in, just dabble in a little bit of anti-racism while sitting down and chatting on their podcast for hours. Just do anything. Like, I don't know, have one person of color on your podcast. Just one can hope, right? And the last person I wanted to talk about in this video, I'm pulling all the way back from 2023. I know we're going way back a year ago, but I wanted to talk about it mainly because this topic really hits on the issue of intersectionality. London and Olivia. London and Olivia became popular on TikTok because they're a lesbian couple who routinely flaunts their affluence and privilege to the public.
Hey guys, we are on our family vacation. Hey guys, spend a Saturday with us.
Their TikToks mainly show their outfits that they're wearing for their day, which are usually pretty preppy and very expensive for the average person.
Little Chloe sandals that I got from Saks Off Fifth, yes, I believe. And then my Rolex, David Yurman, Olivia and I got little matching permanent bracelets. Oh yeah, mine's tucked in. And then I'm just wearing my wedding band today from Starling, Cartier, and then diamond necklace, and then these earrings are from Sterling Forever. I wear them literally every day.
When scrolling through London and Olivia's TikToks, their brand conjures up images of a country club goer who's perfectly tanned, with their hair done up, put together makeup, expensive designer bags, and tailored outfits, with a backdrop of a bright, expensive looking home, complete with 2 golden retrievers.
Free People, hey Howie, this Free People denim dress that is so cute. Olivia got me these Golden Goose. What are these?
The running stars.
It's all so very Southern and, well, so very white. And their story, while endearing, well, smells a little bit like privilege. For example, the couple mutually proposed on a chartered private boat back in 2022. Then they spent a year posting content about their upcoming wedding onto their TikTok. All of their content, whether it's their multiple bridal showers, their bachelorette, their journey to find wedding bands.
Hello, girls.
Hey, guys. Tell them why we're so excited.
We are about to try on our wedding bands.
All had this undertone of wealth, but maybe there was also a continual undertone of racism, as Reddit users noticed that the venue the couple was having their wedding at, Naylor Hall, is an antebellum-style property built in 1840 that was used to secretly store Confederate uniforms that the owner of the home manufactured.
There is a couple of women who recently got married who are sort of like the darlings of TikTok, and their names are London and Olivia. They had a massive, stylish, beautiful wedding. These are like 2 kind of Southern belles who met and fell in love. And you know, it was held at a place like a big, beautiful old house in the South with columns on the front porch. And the started about 24 hours after the pictures started getting posted to TikTok. It comes to light that the site of their wedding may have been a plantation.
Oh,
was afraid that's where this was going.
If you live in a southern state like Georgia and you decide to get married on an antebellum style property, you should probably look into its history, which just regardless, they're gonna have a bad history. Guarantee. And yet still a ton of people decide to get married there? Why? Apparently Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds also got married on an antebellum property with a terrible history. Why would you even want that for your wedding? Weddings are supposed to be about joy and unity and coming together with your partner. All the exact opposite of the history of these properties. So why would you want that sort of history leaking into what's supposed to be a very joyful day? And yet still so many couples insist on getting married in these places. What, for the beauty of these properties? As if there's not thousands of other beautiful places that you could choose to get married at. Really. But that is not even close to the worst part when it comes to London and Olivia. After London and Olivia's wedding, a Reddit thread emerged showing that London had tons, and I mean tons, of racist tweets from 2012 to 2014. In these tweets, London would just casually make racist and xenophobic slurs. And some subreddits even estimated that London used the N-word hundreds of times. Though now it's impossible to tell how many times London used these slurs on Twitter, as the subreddit pages where the screenshots were posted have since been deleted. Who knows if London was the one to try and delete these subreddit pages, but who else would it be? And it really grinds my gears when influencers go through immense effort and immense lengths to take down anyone who is negatively talking about them or trying to even just raise awareness of their actions that they did. I think why is it's this strange dichotomy of this influencer is constantly using their voice online. They're constantly talking about things, posting their opinions online, sharing their thoughts, their feelings, and yet when other people want to talk about bad things that they did, the influencer's like, no, it's okay for me, but not for you. And they go and try and take that post down. And I think it does take a certain amount of privilege and self-centeredness to believe that you have a right to share all your thoughts and feelings online, but no one else can, especially if it's negative about you. London also deactivated her Twitter, seemingly to try and hide all of these past posts, thinking that everything would just poof, disappear. But it, in fact, did not disappear. So while on their honeymoon, London and Olivia made an apology on their TikTok stories.
Obviously, this Twitter has been deactivated because why would I want those up? Because they're horrible and I don't want anyone to see them to be offended or to hurt anyone's feelings. I am completely and utterly disgusted and ashamed and honestly embarrassed at how normal it was for me to speak that way on Twitter and to, I don't know, for my friends and I to address each other that way, or for me to sing along in rap songs, and that's nobody else's fault but mine.
Something I want to address in London's apology video, I just find it so funny that yet again London does what every other influencer seems to do, the classic deflection move. London blames her environment, saying that all of her friends were doing this and that's why she did it. And yet she ends the statement by saying, but it's nobody's fault but hers. The last few sentences you said right before that statement make it clear that you don't believe that. You can't deflect accountability, say this wasn't my fault, it was my environment, it was my friend, but then try and like null and void that by saying, but it's my fault and I take accountability. No, you didn't. This apology just ended up creating more backlash, mainly because it was shared as a short-lived TikTok story, as if London's apology for her past racist behavior wasn't even deserving of a permanent post. And nowadays, London and Olivia's TikTok has gone back to business as usual, posting their outfit of the days, living a seemingly luxurious life as if nothing ever happened. And they still have a really large following of over 800,000 followers and pretty consistent engagement. So it doesn't seem like their followers ever really cared in the first place. But I also wanted to talk about London and Olivia because of the topic of intersectionality. The term intersectionality originated in Black feminist activism and was coined by American critical legal race scholar Kimberly Williams Crenshaw in 1989. Crenshaw used the term intersectionality to refer to the double discrimination that Black women experience of both racism and sexism. Crenshaw Shaw provided the following definition of intersectionality. Intersectionality is a metaphor for understanding the ways that multiple forms of inequality or disadvantage sometimes compound themselves to create obstacles that are often not understood among conventional ways of thinking. Just because London and Olivia are two gay women who may understand the discrimination that those in the LGBTQ spaces face does not mean they understand all forms of discrimination, nor does it inherently mean that they're allies of all forms of discrimination. Those who are in a position of privilege, in all forms that it comes in, are often not faced with external pressures to change and grow. So any growth comes from within. They have to internally want to change. But because they never have to, most privileged people don't. You can see this so clearly with the fact that so many of these influencers, as examples, after coming out with a short apology and taking a short break, went on to post the exact same content, never really show any genuine change or care for anti-racism, and people just continue to support them. People in positions of privilege don't really ever have to change. There's an incredible video by the TikToker Cameron Kira who really speaks on this issue of so many influencers continually being exposed for their past racism, almost like clockwork on a yearly basis, and how quickly white people just choose to accept their apology, accepting an apology that was never theirs in the first place.
Your favorite white creator just had their racist tweets released, and what's funny about that statement is, while obviously I'm talking about London and Olivia, I could say that statement every single year from now until the day I die, and it will always be applicable because it happens every single year. At this point, it kind of feels like a bad play. Like, I know everything that's going to happen after the event. I know all the dialogue that's going to be performed. For example, once the apology video is released, we always have a flood of white people in the comments accepting an apology that they have no business accepting because they aren't the ones affected. And in said acceptance that they should not be giving in the first place, there is always some combination of the phrases "they've learned," "they've changed," "they've grown." When we have no evidence to suggest any of that is true, but we do have a lot of evidence to suggest the contrary. And that's the thing. Has anyone learned? Has anyone changed? Has anyone grown? Because like I said, this happens every single year without fail, and I can count on this happening the same way I can count on my birthday being the same time every single year.
And the cycle continues. So ultimately, why are influencers high-key racist? I don't think I'm the person to answer that question in full for obvious reasons, though I tried my best here today. But after compiling this video, I'd say personally, in my opinion, a blindness to your own privilege and an unwillingness to look at realities lived outside of your own can literally be dangerous.